We're on the first day of casting. And I just kept looking and looking just as high as Rachel reached.
She came out and she said, I apologize. Like, I went too far. But it wasn't.
In a surprising turn of events, acclaimed director Steven Spielberg, renowned for his collaborative spirit and professionalism, has reportedly described working with Rachel Zegler on West Side Story as horrible.
Last week was a very big week, objectively a huge week. We had quite a few announcements. Our first live-action film, which is Snow White and the Evil Queen. And that's me, I'm Snow White, which is so...
This shocking allegation emerged from industry insiders and has sparked widespread discussion. Spielberg, who handpicked Zegler for the role of Maria after a massive casting search, initially believed she embodied the perfect combination of vocal talent and charisma needed for the part.
Into this, the first villain Disney ever had. It's really getting myself into this big crown.
So she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Controversy in Snow White. The dwarves have been eliminated in the live action.
Yeah.
Now it's Snow White and the 7 magical beings.
Wait, it's 7 and the magical beings?
Yeah,
They won't even say
magical
and the 7
beings.
dwarves?
No, because they're not dwarves. For right now, that's the only jobs that are there.
It's awful, generic. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. All you have to do to make your dream come true is let it echo. Is it like on a metaphor?
However, behind the scenes, it seems the working relationship between the young actress and the veteran director soured. Significantly, Spielberg, known for mentoring rising stars and fostering creative environments, allegedly found Zegler difficult to direct, with the set environment reportedly becoming tense and strained. The significance of Spielberg, one of Hollywood's most respected figures, making such a statement cannot be overstated.
Backwards, you actually just erased the dwarfism side of it, the disability, like we're a disability group, you just erased that whole.
It adds a serious layer of concern to Zegler's rising stardom, suggesting that her professional demeanor might not align with industry expectations. Casting doubt on her future collaborations, this revelation has shocked many, given Spielberg's reputation for discretion and professionalism, making his alleged comments about Zegler's behavior even more impactful.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
It's got extra musical numbers that are incredibly unnecessary that really add to that runtime. And let me go ahead and let you know that they're absolutely f***ing atrocious.
Have they ever thought about maybe like a little bit of like, I don't know, vulnerability study, opposition research, that sort of thing, before you go and hire some Zoomer who's a lunatic?
Further fueling the controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler were reports of on-set tensions during West Side Story, particularly between Zegler and co-star Rihanna Debus. Observers first noticed that the two actresses unfollowed each other on Instagram shortly after filming wrapped, a clear indication of discord in today's digital landscape where public figures usually maintain appearances. Neither Zegler nor Debus directly addressed this fallout, but rumors swirled about ongoing conflicts and difficulties working together. Insiders reported that Zegler's attitude rubbed several people the wrong way, with some describing her as hard to work with and resistant to direction.
Doing catastrophically. They spent $300 million and it currently has a 2.2 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
The situation became even more conspicuous when Debus received critical acclaim and awards recognition, including an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. While Zegler's acknowledgement of her co-star's success was notably upset, such dynamics only served to heighten suspicions that behind the polished weight of press tours and red carpets, there were deeper issues. For a film that promoted itself as a harmonious and collaborative project, these behind-the-scenes frictions painted a much messier picture, suggesting that Zegler's relationships with fellow cast members may not have been as seamless as portrayed.
I sat through the whole thing. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension. Racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
The controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler deepened further during the allegations leveled against West Side Story co-star Ansel Elgort. As the film's leading lady and a self-proclaimed activist for social justice, many expected Zegler to address the accusations in some form, whether by standing with the victims or at least acknowledging the situation. However, her complete silence on the matter stood in stark contrast to the progressive image she had cultivated.
And you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie, and I believe it only made less than $1 million.
Critics pointed out that Zegler, who frequently voiced opinions on issues like women's rights and accountability, remained mute when a sensitive issue affected her own circle. This inconsistency drew sharp criticism from fans and industry observers alike, who accused her of hypocrisy. For many, It was a glaring double standard that tarnished her activist credentials, while other cast members addressed the allegations. Zegler's refusal to engage fed the growing perception that her advocacy only extended as far as was convenient. This misstep only intensified the scrutiny surrounding her, fueling narratives that her public persona might not align with her actions when it mattered most.
Oh my God.
This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Rachel Zegler's troubles escalated as she embarked on the press tour for Disney's live-action Snow White remake, where she faced backlash for repeatedly criticizing the original 1937 classic. Instead of honoring the legacy of Disney's first feature-length animated film, Zegler dismissed its storyline as outdated, emphasizing that her version of Snow White would not focus on true love or being saved by a prince. This approach alienated many Disney loyalists who held the original film close to their hearts. Her repeated assertions that the new Snow White would be a feminist retelling might have appealed to some modern audiences, but they sparked widespread outrage among traditional fans. Hashtags like #NotMySnowWhite began trending as social media users voiced their dissatisfaction with Zegler's approach. Many felt that her comments displayed a lack of respect for the beloved story, framing her as dismissive of Disney's foundational works. Instead of generating excitement, her press tour turned into a PR disaster, overshadowing the film itself and polarizing audiences well before the movie's release. Compounding the backlash was Rachel Zegler's outspoken political activism, particularly her public support for the Free Palestine movement. During the promotional period for Snow White, while individuals are entitled to their political beliefs, Zegler's timing clashed with Disney's global brand strategy, causing internal concern. Executives reportedly scrambled to manage the fallout, fearing that her political stance could alienate key markets and disrupt promotional plans. Sources claimed that the studio had to increase security at certain events due to heightened tensions, sparked by Zegler's posts. These issues further complicated Disney's marketing efforts, as the company found itself caught between appealing to socially conscious younger audiences and retaining its core fan base. Zegler's activism, while genuine to her beliefs, became another layer of controversy that contributed to the negative press surrounding the Snow White remake, making it difficult for Disney to shift the narrative back to the film itself. As the controversy continued to spiral, the Snow White remake's box office performance reflected the damage done. Despite a massive production budget estimated between $140 million and $170 million, the film failed to generate the expected returns, grossing significantly less worldwide. Disney, which had banked on nostalgia-driven success similar to its other live-action remakes, found itself facing one of its most embarrassing financial failures. Analysts pointed to Zegler's controversial press tour as a major factor, arguing that her comments and political stances alienated Disney's core audience, many of whom chose to boycott the film. Parents, families, and longtime Disney fans distanced themselves, feeling that the magic of the original had been disrespected. This financial flop underscored how sensitive audiences remain to the behavior and statements of high-profile stars, especially when dealing with beloved cultural properties. Merchandise sales associated with the Snow White remake also suffered, adding another layer to the debacle. Retailers reported lackluster performance for costumes and tie-in products, with parents unwilling to purchase merchandise tied to a film, and star embroiled in controversy. Halloween costume sales, typically a reliable source of revenue for Disney properties, reportedly fell well below expectations. An insider explained that children simply didn't want to dress up as a version of Snow White whose portrayal and promotion had sparked such widespread backlash among their parents and communities. Despite Disney's efforts to pivot its marketing toward the film's supporting cast and classic musical elements, the controversy surrounding Zegler remained the dominant narrative, overshadowing the studio's attempts to refocus attention on the film itself. The fallout from the Snow White controversy wasn't limited to poor box office and merchandise sales. Industry insiders began referring to Zegler as box office poison, with reports suggesting that her involvement in future projects could lead to higher insurance premiums and hesitancy from producers. Some agents allegedly advised their clients to avoid productions that included Zegler, fearing the negative press and financial risks that might accompany her involvement. This marked a significant shift for Zegler, who had once been positioned as Hollywood's next rising star. The repercussions of her public missteps extended beyond the immediate failures of Snow White, casting a long-term shadow over her career prospects. Public opinion surrounding Rachel Zegler became increasingly polarized. While some praised her for standing firm in her beliefs and speaking her mind, others criticized her for the tone and delivery of her statements. Detractors argued that it wasn't Zegler's activism that caused the backlash, but rather the condescending manner in which she dismissed beloved stories and the fanbase that supported them. Her interviews were widely perceived as arrogant, exacerbating the divide between herself and the audiences she needed to win over. This perception contributed to the widespread boycotts and negative reception that ultimately impacted the film's performance. Her defenders framed the backlash as an example of Hollywood punishing outspoken women, while critics maintained that her attitude and approach alienated the very people she was meant to connect with. In the aftermath of the Snow White debacle, Rachel Zegler's career faced significant uncertainty, despite attempts to frame the situation as a case of haters targeting a young woman for speaking her truth. The industry response suggested deeper concerns. Rumors circulated about internal debates at Disney over whether they should have recast Zegler after the initial wave of backlash. While some believed the controversy could eventually fade, others worried that Zegler's public image had been severely damaged. As the entertainment world continues to evolve, the spotlight remains firmly on Zegler, with both supporters and critics watching closely to see how she navigates the turbulent waters ahead, and whether she can rebuild her reputation in an industry that often has little patience for prolonged controversy.